My husband and I are watching this docu-series called Love Fraud, and it reminded me about the time I was catfished. Oh my god, this was like a level of catfishing that was insane. And now that I can do 10-minute videos, I can fit it all in one video. So for those who don't know, my name's MJ, I'm a trans guy. So this all happened probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I think I had just gotten top surgery, I was maybe a little over a year into my medical transition. And I had a lot of followers on Instagram at the time, like 60K, and the majority of them were trans men like me. Well, one day, some trans dude hits me up or whatever, and we start talking. That wasn't really, out of the norm. We had mutuals, most of them were trans men. His page was, very developed. He had pictures of what he looked like before his transition and now, comparison photos. And he had quite a bit of followers. I would say there was, 3 to 5,000 trans men that followed him. I remember it not being, a huge amount, but it was enough. Well, anyways, like I said, we started talking, we hit it off or whatever. We started texting, he'd FaceTime with me. So obviously I knew, this is a real dude, he exists. But, there was one thing that, rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. And I know it's, you're not supposed to say things like this in, the trans mass community because we're supposed to be very progressive, and accepting, which I am. I am all that. But I'm gonna trust my gut on certain things, whether that offends somebody or not. And one thing that didn't sit right with me, is he was, pre-op, you know what I mean? And he had a larger chest, which I did too before surgery. That's obviously not the part that rubbed me the wrong way. But, he was very, you could tell in some of his photos, he was almost, displaying his chest, which, whatever, I always say, whatever floats your pickle or lack thereof. But just from my experience being a trans man and, having a lot of trans mask friends, being married to one now, that's not a common behavior amongst, most trans men. So it did strike me as a little odd, but I thought, well, hey, it's a new generation, people are more accepting about things. Maybe it's a body positivity thing. I don't know. So I just figured I'm not, that's not my business. And, like I said, whatever floats your pickle. Well, we continued to talk, FaceTime, whatever. But I deal with a lot of anxiety. And, one day I was just feeling really anxious. And so I made a statement to him I'm really anxious right now. So I'm going to lay down for a little bit. When it calms down, I'll let you know, I'll hit you up. And he responded he didn't understand. Why do you need to recuperate from anxiety? Why do you need to relax for a minute? And I was just you don't deal with anxiety ever? And he seemed to not have issues with that at all. And that to me was the number one red flag. I am going to make this statement right now, okay? Usually I make tons of disclaimers. I'm just going to say it. I have never in my life, out of the hundreds of thousands of trans men that follow me, that I've communicated with, thousands of them, I have never heard of a trans man who has never dealt with anxiety. Never. And I'm gonna go further on a limb and say I've never spoken to one or interacted with one who didn't have it to such a level that it impacted their life somehow. So that didn't sit right with me. So I did a reverse phone number thing. And normally, this would not tip me off at all or seem odd because a man's name came up, but we were in our 20s, so I'm it's probably his dad, you know what I mean? Or at least that's what I would have thought if I wasn't something's wrong. So I search the name, and I find his Facebook profile. And oh, it's a cis dude. I mean, there's pictures of him as a little kid and everything with his family. They seem very well put together, very much, keeping up appearances. It gets worse. So I confronted him. And at first he sold me this real bullshit story. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say bullshit story, because people do go through this. But not him. He tried to tell me that he was a trans man and that, his family, they weren't accepting, so he couldn't come out about it and blah, blah, blah. I'm alright, bro, but that doesn't answer for the fact that there's pictures of you as a little fucking boy on there. What the fuck? So finally he came clean, that he was a cis man, a gay cis man. Oh my god, but this is the part, it still makes my stomach churn. It's just fucking gross. This dude, okay, to present as a pre-op trans man, he went out and he bought a prosthetic chest, okay, and he took pictures with the prosthetic chest on with like shirts over it and stuff. That's why it was so pronounced in pictures. And he would take pictures of it talking about how he was pre-op and everything. He bought a prosthetic chest to pose as a trans man. That was pre-op. I still don't know how he generated the photos of him as a girl because back then we didn't have like AI like transfer pictures into I don't know. But maybe he did somehow find a way to do it, and that's what that was. I do remember like the hair being very like I don't know, feathery and stuff, and maybe he could have like used some type of like editing app or something to do that. So I ended up warning all the trans men that followed me at the time. I told them his name and to watch out for him. I shared his handle and everything. So then he comes back again, makes a new page, okay? Once again, posing as a trans man, following a bunch of trans men. I think he did it like 3 times. 3 times. At one point, he was like, I'm so sorry, MJ. I realized the mistake that I made. Please don't block me. I'm gonna donate tons of money to some, like, trans organization. Disgusting. Oh, I should have added to this video when I was like originally recording it. I'm editing it now. I do have screenshots of everything. I have his name. I saved screenshots. Only reason I'm not releasing them is because he hasn't bothered me in years. I haven't heard about him in the community in years. But if I do trust, I got those screenshots.